Hello, good morning friends. Welcome back to your favorite channel Code One Digest. In this video, we will discuss what is chain of responsibility design pattern, where to use chain of responsibility design pattern, and I'll also show you Java code implementation of chain of responsibility design pattern. At the end, we will discuss the benefits of chain of responsibility design pattern. So stay tuned till end of the video. Friends, in a previous video, we discussed about iterator design pattern. Can you explain what is iterator design pattern and where to use it? Please reply your answer in the comment section of this video. If you have not seen that video, I recommend you to go and see that video. It's a very important design pattern. The link is provided on your screen and also shared in the description section of this video. Just to recall the iterator design pattern, iterator design pattern lets you traverse element of a collection without exposing its underlying representation. For more information, please see the previous video. Friends, before we proceed in this video, I want you to subscribe my channel to grow Code One Digest family. Friends, I'm creating a lot of quality contents for you, but I'm not getting subscribers. I want you to like, share, and subscribe my channel so that I can grow Code One Digest family. Thank you.
All right, let's get started.
Okay, friends, now let's start with chain of responsibility design pattern. So, what is chain of responsibility design patterns? The chain of responsibility design pattern lets more than one object handle your request without mutual knowledge of each other. This pattern avoids coupling between the sender of a request and possible receiver of the request. We place all the receiver in a chain which lets the receiving object pass the request along to the next receiver in the chain until one receiver handles it or the end of chain is reached. The chain of responsibility pattern allows a number of classes to attempt to handle a request without any of them knowing about capabilities of other classes. It provides a loose coupling between these classes. The only common link is the request that is passing between them. Chain of responsibility is used when we have a series of processing. So the request is taken up by the first handler and he either can handle the part of it or cannot. Once done, he passes the request to the next handler in the chain. This goes on until the proper handler takes it up and completes the processing. Upon receiving a request, each handler decides whether to process the request or to pass it to the next handler in the chain. As you can see on the screen, how it works. Friends, now let's understand chain of responsibility design pattern with an example. Imagine you are working on an online ordering system. You want to restrict access to the system so that only authenticated user can create orders. Also, users who have administrative permissions must have a full access to all the orders. After a bit of planning, you realized that these checks must be performed sequentially. The application can attempt to authenticate a user to a system whenever it receives a request that contains the user credentials. However, if those credentials are not correct and authentication fails, there is no reason to proceed with any other checks, as you can see in that example on your screen. Now, during next few months, you keep implementing several more of those sequential checks. Someone suggested that it's unsafe to pass raw data straight to the ordering system, so you added an extra validation step to sanitize the data in the request. Later, somebody noticed that the system is vulnerable to the brute force password cracking. To negate this, you promptly added another check that filters repeated failed requests coming from same IP. The code of the checks looks like a mess, has now become more and more bloated as you added each new feature. Changing one check sometimes affects the other. Worst of all, when you try to reuse the checks to protect other component of the system, you had to duplicate some of the code since those components required some of the checks, but not all of them. The system become very hard to comprehend and expensive to maintain. So, the solution to all this problem is the chain of responsibility design pattern. Chain of responsibility relies on transforming particular behavior into a standalone object called handlers. In our case, each check should be extracted to its own class with a single method that performs the check. The request along with its data is passed to these methods as an argument. The pattern suggests that you link these handlers into a chain. Each linked handler has a field for storing a reference to the next handler in the chain. In addition to processing a request, handler passes the request further along the chain. The request travels along the chain until all handlers have had the chance to process it. Here, the best part is a handler can decide not to pass the request further down the chain and effectively stop any further processing. In our example with ordering system, a handler performs the processing and then decides whether to pass the request further down the chain. Assuming the request contains the right data, all the handler can execute their primary behavior, whether it is authentication checks or caching. It's crucial that all handler classes implement the same interface. Each concrete handler should only care about the execute method. This way you can compose chain of runtime using the various handler without coupling your code to their concrete classes. Okay friends, now let's see the code implementation of chain of responsibility design pattern. I have prepared a code for you for the chain of responsibility design pattern. I'll walk you through the code first and then I'll run the code and give you the demo. Friends, this code is available in my GitHub repository. You can download the code and play with it. The link of my GitHub repository is shown on your screen and also available in the description section of this video. Okay, now let me show you the code what I have written. So I have defined an abstract class called iProcess. In this abstract class, I am taking an instance of same iProcess and I have a method set next handler. In that set next handler, I am passing one process and initializing this local process with it. Okay, just to create the chain of my handler. Then I have another method run process. Let us see implementation of this abstract class. So I have process one where I have implementation of this run process where I'm printing that running process one and then so on. If the process is not null, process is coming from superclass, then run the process. Same way I have implementation of process 2, 3 and 4. Then what I've done is I have written a test class, okay, where I'm creating process 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm initializing this 4 process and then in process 1, I'm setting a next handler of process as a process 2. Then process 2 setting a next handler as process 3 and process 3 setting a next handler as process 4. So what I've done is I'm stitching all these handlers together and created a chain of this processor. Now, when I am calling a process one, run process, it will run the process and it will go to the next process. Okay, let's run that and see. Yeah, so what it is doing it when I'm calling a run process in run process, it is processing and then passing the request to the next processor. So running process one, then process two, then process three, and process four. It is running in sequential. Process 1 has executed, then it has called process 2, then process 2 executed and called the process 3 executed and called the process 4, and so on. Right? This is a very simple implementation of chain of responsibility. If you know the servlets and filters, it is a very classic example of chain of responsibility. We write filters where we can do multiple checks and validations. You can do authentication, you can do validation, you can do authorization in those filters. So your context and your validation logics are separated using chain of responsibility. That is how both can vary. And in future, you can add more and more validation, more and more handler to perform those checks, right? So very
So
first
this
question is strike to our mind, where to use this design pattern? Whenever you have more than one object handling a request and the handler is not known, that time you can use chain of responsibility design pattern. When you want to issue a request to one of the several objects without specifying the receiver explicitly, that time you can use chain of responsibility design pattern. When the set of objects that can handle a request should be specified dynamically, that time you can use the chain of responsibility design pattern. So, what benefit do we get from chain of responsibility design pattern? The very important advantage that we get from this pattern is it encourages loose coupling. It reduces the coupling and dependencies between the sender and the receiver. It increases the flexibility of handling a request in multiple ways. You can add more and more validations to your chain for your future needs. Okay, friends, now let me summarize what we learned in this video today. We understood what is chain of responsibility design pattern. We saw a real example of chain of responsibility pattern. We saw Java code implementation of this pattern. We also saw use cases of chain of responsibility pattern. At the end, we discussed the benefits of this pattern. Friend, let me know if you have already used chain of responsibility design pattern in your project or seen a scenario where this pattern can be useful. Please reply in the comment section with your answer. Friends, in the next video, we will cover command design pattern. We will learn what is command design pattern. We will see the usage of command design pattern. We will also see Java code implementation of command design pattern. We will understand the benefits of command design pattern. So stay tuned for the next video on this channel and do not forget to subscribe this channel. Friends, if you like this video, so give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel for the more interesting videos. Click on the bell icon for the latest video notifications so that you don't miss any video from us. Do not forget to share this video with all your friends. This is very useful information for students, beginners, and software engineers. I am putting a lot of efforts in creating these contents, so please help me growing the Code One Digest family. I request you to subscribe Code One Digest channel for the latest programming and technology related videos. Thank you.